Okay, everyone ready? Radio silent. I was speaking into my stopwatch.
I'm recording it.
All right, everyone ready? Radio silence, please. Cameras ready? Well, for starters, it's a bit slow. I mean, if I ran, it would be faster. Oh, I've got him on the launch. You and me! Hello and welcome to the Cars.co.za show, brought to you from my home in the middle of South Africa's unprecedented nationwide lockdown. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you again, and as you can see, the sun is going down behind me on what has been a beautiful day in Cape Town. Right, coming up on today's show, Ernest Page races a Hilux against a Hilux. I head to Girotech to do some silly things in very expensive cars. Ernest comes back from the Hilux film to terrify me in a BMW M5 and Merc E63. We tell you the incredible story of the restoration of our very own Opel Superboss, and three of South Africa's best surfers head deep into the Transkei to find some incredibly rare waves. But up first, Toyota released a stripy version of their Hilux, which they said is faster than a Hilux which doesn't have stripes on it. And so we gave Ernest Page a call and told him to go and find out.
Hi there, my name is Ernest Page and you join me at a racetrack. Well, the parking lot of a racetrack. You see, I am driving this, the new Legend 50. And after 50 years of making Toyota Hilux buckies, this might be one of their best ones.
This Legend 50 is kind of at the top of the bucky food chain, at least for Toyota. Except, as of recently, it isn't. Introducing the Gazoo Racing Hilux. It costs 50,000 more than the Legend 50, but it has exactly the same engine with the same power. But because it's an auto, there's a bit more torque. It has smaller wheels and tires, and for improved handling, an all-new front suspension developed by Gazoo Racing. But most importantly, it has lots of racing stripes, which means it must be faster.
Inside, plenty details to remind you that this is a Gazoo Racing bucky, and you even got a little nameplate over here to let you know which number your one is out of the 600 made. Now, I'm trying to figure out if the changes that Toyota made to this car have made any difference, and the only way to find out is a race.
And so the good people at Tygerberg Raceway let us set up our own racetrack on the property. With a mix of gravel and tarmac and some fast and tight corners, it was time for a hot lap shootout.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Here we go. Legend 50 manual. Get off the line, come on! This for my manual fans out there. Hard on the brakes here. Oh, bit slippy through there, down into second gear now. Let's see if we can swing it all the way through here. Gonna understeer through on the handbrake. Keep it sideways, Page. Keep it sideways. Come on. I'm gonna leave it in second gear for this section over here. Hard on the brakes, on the handbrake. Swing it around. Much easier with a manual gearbox. And this one, of course, doesn't have the trick suspension up front. It's got the bigger wheels. But will that make a difference? Oh, that's quick. That is quick. That is quick through the hard on the brakes here now. Okay, down to second gear. And 50,000 rand for that Gazoo Racing. Is it worth it? We're about to find out. The clock does not lie. And through this section here and finish.
51.
It's not bad. 52.21, not too shabby at all.
So, Is the stripy Hilux any quicker?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Come on. Now already, I can feel that there's a slight difference in the front. Toyota says they've changed the shocks on the front of this car, as well as made the wheels slightly smaller. Let's see if this makes a difference through here. Slightly, but understeer there. I've got plenty understeer there actually. It does feel like there's a little bit more grip in the front. Let's see how the hairpin does. On the handbrake. Automatic, of course. So I'm waiting for the power to kick in there. Come on! As we're coming to the second to last corner now, on the handbrake here, nice and early. Oh, sliding all the way across the track. Oh! Let's see the final corner now. Keep it tidy, Page. Keep it tidy. And finish. Let's see.
That's a 50.9.
Oh my God, this is way faster. This is way, way faster. I knew it felt faster, but I wasn't quite sure it's going to be that big of a difference. So it turns out the GR Sport is more than just stickers, different wheels, and trick suspension. On our course today, it was a full 2 seconds faster than the Legend 50. And yes, I could have gone faster in each, but throughout the day, they were separated by exactly the same amount of time. Now, looking at the GR, you would think that it should be faster with all those stickers. But I tell you what, 535 lucky owners out there are going to be very glad that they opted for those stickers, those wheels, and that suspension.
There we go, more proof that racing stripes always make things faster. Now, something I've had to get used to during lockdown is making the show on my own and getting to grips with all the gear and all the lights and everything. But the hardest thing to get used to when it comes to producing the show has been not having a haircut. I really miss my barber. I'm sorry I look a bit scruffy. In fact, I think that this show could have been more entertaining if it was just 45 minutes of me trying to give myself a haircut. Maybe we'll do that in episode 5 actually. But coming up next, the importers of Rolls Royce in South Africa gave me a call and said, would you like to come to a top secret army vehicle testing facility and drive some Rolls Royces on a skid pan? Yeah, that was pretty hard to turn down.
Welcome to Ciro Tech, a top secret vehicle testing facility just south of Pretoria off the N14. This is where the old government used to keep our nukes, but today Rolls Royce South Africa had hired the entire place and turned it into a playground.
Hello, allow me to introduce you to some Rolls Royces. That's the new Cullinan, there's a Dawn, that's a Wraith, there's a Ghost, there's a Phantom, and just another Cullinan on the end there for good measure. These are global press cars. They've been flown over to South Africa, where Rolls Royce have invited some of the media to take part in something a bit different.
First up was a timed Gymkhana challenge on a skid pan in a Wraith.
So this is the Black Badge Wraith. It has a stupidly large and powerful engine, 6.6 litre twin turbo V12. There we go. And whoa, full throttle. Lots of horsepower from this twin turbo V12. Oh, good grip at the front. Let's get her around here. Handbrake turn, there's no handbrake. Oh, a little bit loose at the back. So I'm not going for theatrics here. I'm going for the best time. Whoa, yes. You have to be very gentle with the throttle here. Otherwise, you are going very sideways. Oh, there's understeer. ABS kicked. Oh, yeah, caught it. and no grip at the rear, and done. Well, some of the most fun I've ever had. A V12 Wraith on a skid pan. It's actually super controllable. It's actually quite predictable what's going to happen. Obviously you get on the throttle and there's about 1 million torques and they just want to go through the rear wheels, and I did have the traction control off, which was pretty awesome. But yeah, steps out a little bit of opposite lock, get it back into line, and I just got the fastest time of the day.
This is the Cullinan. For me, it's the rock star of the Rolls Royce range, but not one of these young upstart punks. This speaks of legends. Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC. And those band members are probably some of the only people on earth who can afford it. This is a roughly 10 million rand car, and for some reason, the nice people at Rolls Royce wanted me to take it off-road.
This is either going to be the best day of my life or the most expensive day of my life. I am so nervous, I can barely talk. I've kind of forgotten how to present about cars. Why did they make me do this? I don't know if it's designed for this. Maybe it has like modes. Oh, off-road mode. There's a huge button which says off-road. And sometimes people ask me if I get nervous when I drive expensive test cars. I do a little bit, but I've gotten used to it. But this is the most nervous I've ever been in a test car that sounded expensive. I suppose it is good to know that if there are some very difficult obstacles on the way to your ski lodge, that, you know, your Cullinan can cope with this sort of thing. I might just park this car, leave the keys inside and run away.
But I couldn't run away just yet, because there was still an opportunity to drive Girotech's high-speed oval in one of the Rolls. That sort of thing is hard to turn down.
Please forgive me for wearing my sunglasses. It is very bright out here. I'm busy following a Phantom, a Wraith, a Ghost, and 2 Cullinans around the high-speed oval at Girotech. This is where manufacturers from all around the world and where the old government used to test military vehicles. And I am in the black badge Dawn, which is a bit of a power increase over your normal Dawn, and it's got this really cool matte black paintwork. And I feel amazing. I feel like a slightly less cool version of Pharrell. So this high-speed oval at Girotech, the outside lane is designed so that you can take your hands off the wheel at 120 k's an hour. It's a bit understandable that I'm a bit nervous to take my hands off the wheel in a Rolls Royce. Let's get my speed to exactly 120. Look at that! This is so cool. You know, they always told me that that was possible at Girotech, but I've never tested it. This is the first time I've tested it. This is incredible. How did they get this design right? When it comes to Rolls Royce, I think it's easy to get distracted by the price of the cars. They are horrendously expensive. I mean, that Cullinan is over 10 million rand. I don't know how much this one is that I'm driving right now, but I suspect it's pretty close. But what I think is easy to forget, especially if you've never got a chance to drive one, is how incredible the engineering is in these cars. There is just nothing else on the planet that feels like this to drive. In fact, as a motoring journalist, I'm ruined now because no other car ever is going to impress me, at least when it comes to ride quality. There's just nothing that rides like a Phantom. There's nothing that feels like a Cullinan. And maybe that's what you're paying for. There is just nothing else like this. It's not like Rolls Royce has to go and do market research on their rivals. What rivals? Who the hell makes a car like this? And as an engineer, that has to be so much fun. It's like, okay, no expense spared, gents. Make this car the best riding car in the world. Make it the quietest car in the world. Off you go. What's the budget? Doesn't matter. Make it the best. And that's pretty cool in and of itself. This has been a really wonderful day. Really special. Now, if you haven't seen episode 1 of the Cars.co.za show, go and check it out on our YouTube channel. In that episode, Ashley and I drag raced these two cars against each other on a quarter mile. It was epic. But while we had those cars, we thought, both of these cars are four-wheel drive, but they do have rear-wheel drive. So will they drift? So we gave Ernest Page another call. He used to compete as a drifter, and said, can you get these things sideways? And he said yes. And that's the sort of confidence we like at Cars.co.za. This is what happened.
This is the Mercedes-AMG E63S 4MATIC, and this is the new BMW M5. The Mercedes has a bi-turbo V8 with stupid amounts of power. The BMW has a twin-turbo V8 with stupid amounts of power. These cars have always been star players in the German horsepower war, a war which has got so out of hand that both manufacturers have now had to fit these cars with all-wheel drive. But luckily for us, both car makers have a sense of humor, and they've fitted both cars with switchable rear-wheel drive, something we thought we should test.
Which one do you think is going to be easier to drift?
The Merc's got more torque.
Yeah.
But it is a much bigger, well, it's definitely heavier and it feels bigger and heavier. The BMWs, they kind of got that old drifting built into them, don't they?
This is our Cars Awards judge, Ernest Page, and when I asked him if he could get these cars a bit sideways, he said yes. Well, that's good enough for me.
Yosus.
It's nuts, eh?
Okay, so if I scream like a schoolgirl at a Maroon 5 concert, is that going to distract you?
Not at all. Oh, this Merc is just so big.
All right, going for one. That feels quick. Okay, left, right, yes. Whoa, whoa, that is an angle.
This car makes it easy.
Really?
Yeah. I'm starting to get used to it now.
I can feel it out.
It was a little bit intimidating at first because it's so big and heavy and powerful. But now I'm starting to get used to it.
So did you compete drifting?
Yeah.
Really?
In 2010, yeah.
That explains a lot.
That was a long time ago though.
Why didn't you open with that?
Well, that went well, and with the rain starting to come down, we jumped into the M5.
Can't get it there, it's slipping a little bit.
That's all right.
Okay, let's try again.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, the answer to the question, will it drift, is yes. Over the last few years, we've been building up our sentimental brand at Cars.co.za. It focuses on vintage cars, classic cars, and exotics. And while we've been doing that, we've also been building up a heritage fleet of cars which were only sold in South Africa. One of those cars is this, the Opel Superboss. And I think this car is always going to have a special place in our hearts. This is project car number 1.
It's not a process that we want to rush, we want to do it right. We take our time with it, and patience for the passion of the product, it just makes sense. Hi, my name is Werner. I restore Superbosses in my part-time.
This is a 1992 Opel Superboss. It is a uniquely South African legend. They were built in incredibly low numbers and are widely regarded as one of the best hot hatches ever made. But the best part about this one is that it's ours.
I was approached by Ernest from Cars.co.za quite some time ago to do a very nice video on my Opel Superboss. Since then, they asked me to look for them also for one through the Superboss forum. We found them a very nice Burgundy, 125 tag.
The idea was to build an exceptional Superboss, and so the restoration had to be thorough. Everything was stripped from the chassis, even the paint.
We're going to do this car from the nut and bolt, from start to finish, everything we're going to do over on this vehicle. Came back a couple of weeks ago from the panel beaters. The painting came out very well. So we was basically starting off with doing all the pipes, the wiring, petrol pipes, brake fluid pipes, the brakes and everything. We'll start doing those ones over. We'll start from there, and then we'll work our way through carpets, interior. We're doing the engine completely over. We're giving it the original 3 cams, 270 cams. It's going to have the LS diff, the undrive evade diff. It will have all the Promotech box, everything what it must have, it's going to have. We're busy with the restoration. It's going to take right about a month or two to get it basically close to finish, and then it's testing from there. Teething problems, go drive it, make sure everything is fine, get rid of a bit of the rattles what they originally came with. So that's basically what we'll be doing.
So 1 to 2 months turned out to be very ambitious. After 12 months of restoration work, the Superboss was up and running and ready to be shown to the world. Hannes Oosthuizen, who heads up the Sentimental project for Cars.co.za, has a real soft spot for the Superboss and has been involved every step of the way.
2 years ago, that car was in a barn. It had no front bumper, it had a bad boy bonnet on it, it had a second-hand Momo steering wheel, it was the wrong color, and that's where it is now. It's an emotional moment.
In October this year, we entered our Superboss into the SA Concours to be parked alongside and judged with the best in South Africa. But this wasn't our Burgundy Beast's first outing. That happened at the high-profile Cars.co.za Consumer Awards in February, when Hannes drove it onto the stage in front of a 400-strong audience.
Okay guys, so this is a 1992 Opel Kadett GSI 16-valve Superboss. If you have any interest in South African motorsport heritage, the name Superboss will bring back a lot of memories. This car was developed right here in South Africa to do one thing, and that was to beat BMW on the racing circuits of South Africa. And it did that quite a lot. So it's a legend and a very important part of our automotive heritage as a country.
So this Superboss probably has had the most public, open restoration that any Superboss has ever had. We've documented it on social media, in articles, and even its eventual reveal to a live audience streamed internationally.
But anyway, so why do we have a Superboss? Well, we believe that South Africa has this very rich and very diverse automotive heritage, and we want to play our part in protecting that.
When we came to Cars Awards in January and he drove on stage, and it absolutely stole the show that night. But I had a feeling in my gut as we sat in the car idling before we drove on stage that this car is going to do something unexpected.
You see classic car ownership, eh?
Is it not starting?
And truth Bob, it didn't start. And then we had this very special moment, which kind of became the most iconic moment of Cars Awards in that year, which was Victor Matfield, legendary Springbok lock, DJ Fresh, Maps Mopunyane, rushing on stage to help me push this Superboss off the stage. But in the few moments that I've had it away from the camera, I think we've got what they call a Wednesday car. And a Wednesday car is a car that really performs unbelievably well. It's built with all the right bits, and it's got all the go and all the heart, but only when it wants to and when nobody's looking.
We currently have 3 other SA Classics being restored, but this Superboss is Sentimental Project 1. This little car means a lot to us here at Cars.co.za, and in October this year we had a chance to find out how it stacks up against the best in South Africa at the SA Concours. One of Cars.co.za's founders and part-time BG's Revival band member, Ross McElroy, explains why, as a business, Cars.co.za has involved itself in the classic car scene.
Yeah, we're here at Concours, South Africa. It's a beautiful event here at Steyn City. Some amazing cars here. But yeah, very excited from a business point of view to be here today. It's the first competitive outing and an opportunity for us to showcase it to the world. We are in the process of creating a car collection of South African classics to protect the heritage and to make sure that, you know, the South African car culture is certainly celebrated, and we as a local South African car business are at the forefront of A, protecting that, B, celebrating it and finding the joy that cars are able to share with all of us and we can experience through it.
So we kind of never, I guess, expected to be at Concours 2 years ago. It was never part of the business's plan, it was never part of the goal, and then we started Sentimental and we started speaking to these owners and discovering these cars and learning about people in the industry. And I think as a brand for Cars.co.za, as a classified, you know, we've done a lot to win people's trust and their minds. But I think one area where we potentially could do better is to probably win their hearts.
Even though we were confident that our Superboss was the best in show, on the day we didn't win any trophies, mostly because she was shy to perform in front of the judges. But on the drive home with the sun setting, there is no doubt in anyone's mind that this Superboss is an absolute heart stealer, and we hope that as we show it more and more to the public, that it will steal their hearts too.
I do love that Superboss, and maybe one day my colleagues might even let me drive it. I mean, that would be nice. But before I go on, I do want to tell you about our Sentimental store, which you'll find at Cars.co.za/shop. That's where we ship exclusive custom-made car merchandise to the world. Very proud of myself. That was quite a difficult sentence. But we aren't shipping during lockdown, unfortunately. You can still browse the store and purchase. As soon as we can, we'll get it to you. And one of the things you can buy right now is our beautiful digital 80-page magazine. Downloaded it the other day. I didn't even use my staff discount. It's absolutely beautiful. Go and check it out. Right, in the final film of this episode, it's from our Journey series, which celebrates traveling across this beautiful continent. And in this film, 3 of South Africa's top surfers jumped in some Mitsubishis and drove to some of the most remote regions of the Eastern Cape to find some waves that some people probably have never even surfed before. I've never really understood this as a motivation, going to find waves. But anyway, this is an incredible story.
Part of surfing, what happens is, like, you know, we go out and we search for waves. That's what we do. We always want to go find something new and go out with your friends, get away from it all, kind of, you know, just break away from that day-to-day city life.
It's been really cool, you know, in the car. Probably my favorite place in the whole world. You just can drive anywhere, park anywhere, and pretty much surf anywhere if you have the balls to do it, for sure.
Yeah, it's been amazing to be in such a beautiful place, and yeah, just in the middle of such incredible, raw, beautiful nature, and just huts and no signal, and yeah, no distractions from the world.
Yeah, so we're pretty much just here on the Transkei, myself, Emma and Avo, just cruising around looking for waves kind of off the beaten track a bit. Especially in these kind of places, you're never just walking down to the beat, but you got to kind of spend your time driving around. I mean, today we've driven a fair ways to find what we're looking for. It's not your everyday, easy, run-of-the-mill trip. It's more of an adventure. Most of the places you're not even driving on a road, it's like massive grassy hills when you're falling off an edge as you come to the one corner. And the waves are pumping. Surfing is like one of those few things where there's just no rules, you know what I mean? It's like you can go out and do whatever you want. If you want to go straight and do a handstand on every wave, then that's fine, you can do that. And I think it's just all about fun and just being able to go out there and get away from all the drama and all the nonsense on land for a bit. Clears your head.
Yeah, surfing the Transkei, I feel like it's really special because I mean the ocean's like it's really raw, like the raw power and everything else in between, and it would be really cool to come to these places, surf really powerful waves, and yeah, and just be very humbled by pureness of nature.
All the roads in Transkei, it's definitely gravel roads with massive potholes, but we kind of had a long drive along the gravel road and then basically just up cliffs and along the side and edge of cliffs, which is pretty petrifying.
Basically, I grew up in Port St. John's, so the Transkei is pretty much home to me. So yeah, it's been really cool, you know, like just literally through surfing, like it's like these kind of opportunities come about, you know, drive around the Kai, pros and everyone else, like really cool crews. So yeah, it's just basically like just a big privilege to be part of surfing, and yeah, as an African dude, it's really cool.
Yeah, we're just cruising on our way now to go check out some waves in Coffee Bay with the crew and go see what's happening there.
Pretty cool walking through cows on your way to a surf, and it's kind of been like that at most surf spots we've been to. And the cows are pretty intimidating, but I'd say the pigs are more intimidating. I got growled at by one yesterday when I tried to touch it.
Yeah, we just had a sick little surf in Coffee Bay now, and on our way to Hole in the Wall, and it's absolutely insane around here. Oh, there's the hole.
Sketchiest moment was definitely Hole in the Wall. Yeah, we surfed between the two mountains, so the Hole in the Wall and the one next to it. It was just like really crazy.
There was like dry rock, deep drop off, and we were kind of sitting in between them, dancing around. So it was a little bit weird.
Probably 80% of the time surfing with Ricky. He doesn't like to surf the spots that are surf spots. He wants to go surf at the nearly die on rock, slab, shallow spots.
It was hard, like you were paddling into waves and it was sucking you onto the rock, and then you're trying to get up over another rock. In between that cliff and this cliff, and there are rocks everywhere. You don't often get to surf those kind of little interesting waves. I mean, you can always go and surf the points and it's sick. But how often do you get to surf Hole in the Wall? That's like epic.
We just all need to appreciate what we have. I mean, Indonesia is not as cool as Transkei.
Everywhere we've been in Transkei is beautiful.
I've loved every minute of it, actually.
There we go. That's it. That is episode 4 of the Cars.co.za show. Thanks so much for joining me, and from myself and everyone at Cars.co.za, we just wanted to wish all of our dealer clients and every car dealer around the country all the best as you reopen your doors under level 4 trading restrictions. Good luck out there. Thank you so much for your support. It was great to hang out with you again for this episode of the Cars.co.za show. We'll be here same time, same place next week. South Africa, stay safe, look after yourselves and each other. Bye for now.